Hi, Misha here, and having recently kind of covered the support craft in Eaglemoss's Starship's shuttle packs, they're up to pack 6, meaning a total of 24, I thought I would revisit the Shuttlecraft themselves, and you'll notice I put them in this container. It's an art supply thing from somewhere. I got tired of these falling off the simple little pedestal stands that they come with. None of them had broken because they didn't have far to fall, but I decided to just use this, put a little foam in each pocket so they wouldn't rattle around. And actually it's just about the right size. A couple of them have to sit a little bit kitty corner, but none of them are mashed by the top, so. And since it's a clear top, I can even hang it and kind of display them like this, and I think they'll be a lot safer. I've got the 13 Shuttlecraft in this box, and I've got the 11 support craft in the other one. So with that in mind, I'll do a few videos kind of arranging these by category. So let's get started. Now we get to the really most advanced shuttles in Starfleet. Here we have the Type 9, as seen in Voyager. Then the Type 10, also known as the Chaffee type, from Deep Space Nine. And then we have the Type 11, as seen in Star Trek Insurrection, the motion picture. And then just for fun, we definitely have the most advanced. This is the Starfleet Command type, as seen in Endgame, the final episode of Voyager. And I brought out a few to kind of give continuity and help from the past video. So, yeah. The Type 9. The Type 8 was Voyager's kind of all-purpose medium-range shuttle. It was 6.2 meters. Could do warp 4. Carry 8 people pretty comfortably. Was reasonably well armed. It was an advancement on the Type 6. But the Type 9, while kind of loosely based on it, was a different principle. This was a fast, sleek shuttle, designed initially for scouting and reconnaissance. To that end, it sacrifices a lot for speed. It's relatively long. It's 8.5 meters, 8.5 meters, but it's very thin. Only a little over 2.6 tons. It has a standard crew of 2. Only one can fly it as usual quite well. And it can easily carry 2 passengers, and in a pinch can carry 4, but not comfortably. But it does have some advantages. One, it can sustain warp 6, which is the fastest we've seen so far in a shuttle. Also, it has advanced Type 6 phasers, now as standard. The Type 8 had Type 5 phasers as standard. It also has a pretty advanced long-range sensor suite, and it has a medium-range, pretty sophisticated, even site-to-site capable transporter. So it's technologically advanced. It's just very slim and trim, designed for atmospheric flight, and it can go a long range. And it's a good thing it can get there quickly, because internally it doesn't have much in the way of amenities. But at least externally it actually is quite well shielded and even armored. And this is a very advanced shuttle type when Voyager is launched. It was only just going into use. It's also sometimes, for some bizarre reason, referred to as a Class 2 shuttle. But again, this is Voyager we're talking about, so no reason to look too closely at that. But yeah, fast little critter, designed for deep space exploration ships. Next up, the Type 10. This is designed for the USS Defiant, so Defiant class. Also other combat ships. It was coming into use during certainly the rumblings of the Dominion War in the early stages. This is the first one we've looked at that is truly a combat shuttle, just to go along with its parent craft. It's about 9.6 meters long because of the way the engines stick out the back. Much like the Type 9, it's pretty sleek, so not especially tall. It is very well armored. It has armored Broussard collectors. It also has a very complicated plasma ventilation system to prevent warp breaches. It also uses a unique warp matrix that's more of a solid state. And it has the computer core for a ship like the Danube class runabout. So all of this comes at a cost. It's a very heavy critter. It's over 19.5 tons, thanks to all the armor and stuff. It also has 3 Type 5 phasers as standard, and 2 micro torpedo launchers, as well as an advanced hardened sensor suite and jamming technology, not stealth per se, but jamming tech. This is a combat ship. It is designed for reconnaissance, combat, including fighting, to be used as kind of a fighter, and to swoop down to we would call it combat search and rescue, CSAR, in today's standards. But yeah, it was designed to take a hit and also deliver it. To that end, it doesn't have a very large crew capacity. Standard is 2, and as standard it can carry 2 passengers, although this can be expanded to 4 when needed, especially for rescue operations. Because this is a relatively long and very heavy shuttle, only one can be carried on board a Defiant type ship, and it would basically replace the where did I put her here? The Type 18 shuttle probably looked at in the other video. The Defiant would carry 2 to 4 of these. Well, when these were out it could carry one of the Type 10 Chaffies. Chaffee being the name of the Defiance shuttle. You can definitely see the similarity, especially with the warp nacelles. Despite all of its heavy armament and armor, it could still do warp 5. Very respectable. And again, steps were taken to prevent warp core breaches with this ship. And it's actually, believe it or not, based on the Type 6 or Type 8 space frame. Just extended out and highly armored up. Well, next up, the Type 11. This served on board Sovereign classes and other large ships, because it is a large shuttle. It is 16 meters tip to tip, and it weighs over 28 tons. And it has a standard crew of 4, and can carry 6 passengers comfortably, and even more in an emergency. Basically, this was a compromise between a runabout and a smaller shuttle. It's not quite as expensive and heavy as a runabout, but it's not far off. It is also capable of warp 6. It too is well armed. It has 4 Type 5 phasers and 2 micro torpedo launchers, including one that shoots rearward. It can also be mounted with a tractor beam or other special equipment like tachyon burst. And it's basically the final replacement for the Type 7 here from our last video. You can even see some similar lines. The Type 7 was meant to be a long-range craft with sleeping compartments and living facilities. The Type 11, like a runabout, is no different. Interestingly, it has 2 docking ports, one on the top and one on the bottom, for engaging with other vessels for rescue or just maneuvers. Something we don't see before, but that just shows you how big it is. It's big enough to actually have docking ports. It too, of course, has well-armored engines and an advanced computer core. And even though it has a standard crew of 4, it can operate with 1 in a pinch, as pretty much any shuttle should be able to. The Type 9 is considered a medium long-range shuttle, whereas the Type 10 and Type 11 are both considered heavy because of their combat use long-range shuttles. And both are very specialized for what they are. Really, all 3 of these are very specialized. And speaking of, our final one here, Janeway's shuttle, as it was called from Endgame, known as SC-4 for Starfleet Command Shuttle 4. Don't really know a lot about this. This is a future shuttle. For example, the 11 and 10 would operate in the 2370s. Well, this is from around the year 2400. It's about 9.5 meters long. We don't know maximum warp or anything, but it is safe to say it's pretty dang long range, considering we see Janeway go to the Klingon Empire in it and everything else. We also know it's well armed. It has stealth systems. It has ablative regenerative hull armor. It has transphasic torpedoes, so it has a torpedo launcher. It has phasers. Has a neural interface for piloting, so one person. And basically, it's an extreme evolution of the Type 9. And you can definitely see the similar lines. But it also has elements from the Type 11, which is why I went ahead and brought it out for this here video. So yeah, real world talk. What's interesting is all four of these are kind of in a smaller scale. Some of the boxier models kind of look to be a little, larger size. And, throughout the shuttle sets, they kind of oscillated between. But it really works, especially in the case of, like, the Type 9 here. This is a cool little model, and one that I had no idea what it looked like. And this just shows you when they were kind of moving into CGI. I think we first see this in Season 2 of Voyager. I believe there was a real-world model, but they also used a CGI later on. It's just, still just, you can tell it's a Federation shuttle, but we're really getting away from the old aesthetic. Likewise, the Type 10, the Chaffee, is very different. It too kind of has a boat, kind of a race boat hull with some Defiance style engines stuck on the end. Some people don't like that a lot of the Starfleet ships have engines that kind of match their mothership. It's never bugged me, considering how many of the engines are shared amongst Starfleet ships in general. And it's neat to see a combat shuttle. And actually, it doesn't die in the episode we see it, so it does a job. But it's only logical that if they had a war going on with the Dominion, after aggressions with the Klingons and threats from the Romulans even before that they would get away from the old boxy or even somewhat curvy shuttles, where the phasers were options at the best of times, or smaller shuttle pods like this, which had limited utility, and go to something pretty damn badass, like the 10. I just really like it. The model does come across as a little small, but I think that's because of just how long it is. If you made it bigger, then you'd really have to kind of rethink. Then if it was any bigger, it almost would be a standard size. It, because of the detailing, is a little bit on the lightweight, but still yet the main body is metal, with the engines being plastic. Now, the Type 11 was another one. I had no idea what it looked like. And I think this one's neat. It is very long, as it should be. It's obviously scaled down from the other ones because it's so much bigger. But that's okay. The main body is all metal. It's actually pretty heavy. And it's just kind of a sleeker runabout. And because this was made for a movie, it's got a high level of detail. And it's nice to see a Sovereign shuttle. And such a big, long ship like a Sovereign, this is exactly what you'd expect to pop out of it. So, I like it. And then the Janeway, the SC-4. This was one I wasn't super excited about. Well, it's not my favorite by any stretch. I'm not real big on some of the future type ships in general. I will say it's grown on me. I like it more than I thought I would. And it does have a very cool, sleek hull. It's futuristic without being just super duper radical. So, yeah, it'll fit. And size-wise, it fits in quite well with the 9 here. Because like I said, it's roughly the same size. It's about 1 meter longer. And that's basically how the models look. So that's how they scale nicely together. Really all of these do, since they're roughly of the same size. Obviously the 11 is a little bit smaller scale because it has to be. But, yeah. You definitely see a thinner, sleeker, more angular, pointed, aggressive look to these later Starfleet shuttles. And most of these are even survivable. Of course, any shuttle in Voyager is going to be a death trap. That's just what they're there for. But these other ones actually don't die. And I think they're neat. And, well, a few model makers have done the Type 9. I don't know that anyone ever did an SC4. I don't recall anyone doing a Type 10 or a Type 11. I could be wrong, probably am. I don't know all the makers, but these are definitely rarer ones, unlike some of the earlier ones. So actually I would say as the shuttle collection has kind of gone on, they've gotten to more obscure stuff that no one's done before, and just more interesting looking models as they got away from the boxes and minivans. But yeah, I just felt like revisiting the shuttles, and that I would do them kind of my own pack selections and talk about how they all relate together. But yeah, I'm definitely happier keeping them in a box now, keeping them from falling over, and means I can pick them up and take them around easier too. Alrighty guys, it's late. I'm going to turn in, but I appreciate you staying with me, tuning in. If you could, like, share, and subscribe. This is Misha, and I will catch you very soon next time.